right, we got the recording in progress. Okay, super excited. I'm seeing that many of you are new here, and this is super amazing. We'll answer tons and tons of questions later on. But what, just like Natalie explained, we'll go to the basics of the platform. I'll explain every feature, how they work, and what things to keep in mind when you're writing content on the platform, and answer any questions around that. So it's so that we can make you more successful with the platform. I want to make sure that I cover everything, which is the basics, and you can start using the platform right away after that. So let's start. Let's go ahead. Okay. Let me just zoom in my screen. Okay, there we go, a little better. All right, so the first thing that you will land up when you come up with a particular keyword. So let's just go back actually to the keyword, new document. And let me start here at new, at find related keywords. So this is sort of any similar tool that you would use for related keywords. If you have a related keyword tool that you use like Ubersuggest or SEMrush or Ahref, this is not a replacement. So it's okay, you can keep using that if you want to. But let's say if you don't have any other tool and you want to do some quick research and find out what keywords you want to go after, you can run a keyword and it will pull out all the keywords from search engine that people are searching for related to that. And you can go specific if you wanted to. You can just talk in general. So if you wanted to be more specific, you can select content, strategic content marketing instead of just content marketing, and create your content around that. So going long tail, sure, it's easier for you to rank, but even the platform, it's still going to give you suggestions, rounded up suggestions to help you create content that can help you rank for this particular keyword. So let's go ahead and get started. And it can take about 35 to 40 seconds for all the data to be loaded. And what we really do is, so how much data is being processed? It's top 20 pages of SERP that is being processed. We start collecting questions out of those. Then we go and find out questions that people are asking in Google. We extract those. Then we run related keyword search queries and backlinking queries and stuff like that. So we gather so much data, and that is why it takes sometimes 30 to 40 seconds against some other platforms, which might be faster because you're just scraping content. Or we are doing tons of other things and putting it together, and that's why it takes sometimes a little longer. Generate ideas, 3 ways to leverage strategic content marketing in your business, how to create a content strategy for your marketing campaigns. This is good. And you can double click it. So understand some controls in Outranking, where you can do one selection and something like this happens. There's always 2 selections as well. And 2 selections will get you into that box and help you edit it. And this is how, this is very common in majority of the platform features, where sometimes you need double clicks in order to insert content into a box. Okay. Now, when I generate meta description, it is taking the title that I gave it and then building the description based on that. So they're more relevant to what you already picked in the first step. And you don't, your ideas are getting more and more refined as you go further. So let's go ahead and select this. And you can see that it's targeting all the keywords that we needed to. So when we are suggesting with this description and title, we are also injecting it with all the keywords that we would otherwise instruct or give you optimization suggestions on for SEO. So it already has those SEO elements in it when you are creating content. Okay. All right. So I have my meta description, and now it's time to pick my sections. So this, our platform is constantly evolving, and there's a major change in the next release around sections. So I'll just go through this functionality quite right now, but this is going to a different level, like 10 levels up in next release. So what you see over here it's some high level of outlines. Sometimes you can see some H3 relevant like structured outlines as well. But what this really is like majorly high levels of outline that you can start talking about in your content. So what is content strategy? How to create a content marketing strategy? What are some examples of good marketing strategy? Okay, we don't want to talk about that. What is digital marketing content strategy? Maybe, maybe not, right? So you can see that it has many relevant data, but some data can be repetitive and might not make sense to it. So that's the enhancement that we made in the next release, is giving you a lot more ability to create better outlines, faster outlines, and pinpoint things very easily that are common and that you should include. But let's move forward with this. And you can see that we've added some outlines to it. Now, there's a few ways going about building your entire content structure. And right now we are at an outline phase where building out the outlines and making sure that we are catering to all the questions and everything that a user needs in that particular content is there. So let's go back to instructions so we can just have a little bit better understanding. And you can see that majority of this thing that good. My title can need a little improvement. So it's suggesting that I use some more keywords in here, how to create a content strategy for your marketing campaign. So I could say content marketing strategy. Content marketing strategy is there. And what we can say is campaigns. We can say some examples. Examples and plan. And you can see we've started like targeting many more keywords that were not even in here. And if you hover over this keyword, you will also see some volume data. So it suggests like the importance of it and what sort of discovery it can drive. Okay, let's go ahead and go to, we already have our H1 tag. Let's not worry about that right now. But since we're creating outlines, it is suggesting that a minimum, at minimum, we should have 17 H2 and H3 tags. The longest page has 39. So now, like, people often ask, like, how many sections do I target, or how many H2s and H3s do I target? What I really suggest is that as long as it needs to be, make sure that you are covering everything that you want the user to know about what you're writing and what it will take to rank in Google. And you don't have to worry about 17 and 39, but you can understand based on these numbers also that how many keywords potentially your competition could be targeting. So what we recommend is that for every H2 and H3, you target at least 1 or 2 keywords. And that is how you make sure that you emphasize those in your H2 and H3 tags, and the search engine can pick it up and help you rank better. So now we're building out our outline. What I will do is I will go to our concept builder and I will see all my outlines here. Now, what I can do now is that navigate through all of these research and start building out my outlines better. So I can start reading through pages. Not really. Okay, what is content marketing strategy? This is something that I would want to talk about and probably include all of these in them. So I could do is add this, add. And obviously you're gonna have to rewrite it, but with the new release, even the rewriting is totally gone. The organization is totally gone, but the way the platform works right now is that you're gonna have to do some organization. Okay, so you have your 6 steps over here. You can rephrase this, you can rewrite this using, well, there we go. We don't want to rewrite it this big. So show the problem that your customers are having, something like that, right? And this is my step 2. Okay, so what you need to do is like, now you can start understanding like how many sections you're adding, right? And as you start building this out and start inserting into the editor, your scores will start climbing up and it will start reading sections as well. So the point is that you can have the split screen where you can go through the research and identify all the topics that you want to include in your content, so like 4 elements of content marketing strategy. how to create a content marketing strategy, and you probably want to add some sections out of this into this, right? And you can do that. Similarly, go through every page, that the top 20 pages, and identify everything that you can include in your content. Structure it better in terms of outline, drag and drop it. You can drag this as well. If you want to edit it, you can double click on it and you can edit it. You can also click on add an outline and double click, create a new outline, then drag it in as well. So all of these controls are possible here. They work similarly. And this is not using AI at the moment, right? Like I'm doing everything manually in order to come up with everything that I need to create the content. Then let's go to this highest frequency keyword. What it's suggesting is that these are some of the highest frequency words that people have used in their outlines. And so it's better for you to kind of nail down. So like, let's say steps, right? Here, this is what people have talked about, like audit your content, 7 steps to creating complete content strategy plan. And these are the steps that they've talked about. And if this is something, so like, it's just a different way of doing research. Like you can juggle, go through some of these things, identify the things that you want to include, and start creating that very powerful outline that will help you rank. Okay, all right. So the rearranging feature, right now we don't have any sections added into our content, but it will help you rearrange the content live into the editor, and we'll go through that in just about a minute. But let's say we have the outline that we need, then I can close this out. And I can see that, okay, all right, all my outlines are done here. And I can then start creating content around it. Okay, so let's look at some basic controls here. Basic control is this copies right into the content. Now, if you don't copy this and you perform some actions, in most cases where it's able to identify that there is no H2 tag associated with it, it will automatically add that tag into it. So what is content strategy? And let's just click, and I will show you what answer is, but you see it automatically entered that particular H2 section in it, and it will recognize that. If it already has H2 section, then it will not add a new one. It is smart enough to make those judgments by itself. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. What does a summary do? So in summary, what it does actually currently is that it will go and pull out existing SERP data and give you a quick summary as to what we are actually going to talk about in this particular section. So this is just a quick summary. And if you hover over it, it'll tell you this is existing content from web. Do not include this in your content. So this is copied content. We don't want you to use this. This is just for your inspiration and to understand how or what things you might want to cover in your content. So let's go ahead and remove that. Then answer for me. So what this does is that this is using core GPT-3 functions. And we've created a very specific template that helps you create answers, which are in form of a PA box or can help you rank for a PA box. So if you click it, the answers are going to be very concise and not just go off on a random tangent and create tons and tons of crap content. So it stays on track and it's very concise. And it's written for a second grader, so it's easier for people in terms of readability, and it will be better for you to help rank in PA. Okay, now what does write for me does? So I've noticed a few people, what they do is, there's a common misconception for write for me. You cannot just click write for me and expect it to do the wonders, okay? And we'll see why it will not. When you write for me, it does not know the context of what you are trying to ask it to write. So what I would do is that you need to add a little context before you do write for me. So your sentence needs to be started building out before you use write for me. Otherwise, it's not going to stay on track and it's going to give you all sorts of crap. So we'd say content marketing is, and then I can do write for me. And then it will start finishing up the thought, and is a marketing practice of generating content that provides customer prospects and partners with useful and relevant information. So you can understand the quality is significantly different when you just do random write for me, and when you do write for me by providing it just a little context for you. So that's the write for you. Let's understand some other concepts. Write plus. This is for adding custom concepts And the moment you add a custom concept, that screen goes away because it's trying to predict that you have your own custom data or own custom research that you want to influence the AI with to write. So you can create your own custom concepts here, but let's just delete this right now. What is settings tab? Settings tab, let's just hover over it. This control lets you add your custom content from web, reviews, product description, home pages, blog posts, PDFs, and I should add even one more thing, your video transcripts as well. It can pick out concepts from video transcripts as well and help you create content for a podcast or any of those things as well. So it's super easy to do that. And you can do that by pasting your content here and clicking on the tick mark. If you use the custom content, then we will not do our own research of going into the SERP data and identifying the content for you. It will pull content from your custom research. If you don't have custom research in here, then it will go and identify the closest headline that it could find with this particular, with the highest score of it, and it'll start pulling out concepts from that particular section out of it. There are some enhancements in our upcoming releases as well, where it can identify concepts from multiple SERP pages as well. So that's going to be a game changer again, more ideas for you and better content to cover in terms of the 360-degree view of what you need to cover in the section. So let's go ahead and click on, well, before I click on generate concepts, let me go and explain some of these things as well. So right now, the template that we are using for concepts is default. But what it can also do is that it can transform the text that it reads on the web or researches into a step. It can also identify disadvantages, so negative points out of a certain text that it's reading. Also the positive points around it, and also points that are features related, right? So if you're writing about a product, an affiliate blog, or just your SaaS product, or like your B2B, a B2B software tool, they all have features. And if you have your custom brief or you have data on the web that you want to extract features out of it, this is what you can use. Let's go ahead and select, leave the default template and click on generate concepts. Okay, so it's asking us to cover the definition of content strategy. Content strategy, so this is not important. Content strategy is a business initiative that drives traffic, leads, engagement, sales, and other business outcomes through content. So what you can do then is start building out the concepts that you like, actually. And this is something that I like. So it will create a paragraph out of it. Then it's your brand plan game to driving traffic, leads, engagement, sales, and other business outcomes through content. Okay. And so what you would understand here is that it's talking about both of these two different things, but there is no transitioning in paragraph, right? And that's what's coming in the next release as well, where you will be able to select more than multiple concepts and build a structured paragraph. And it can also understand where it needs to transition from. So it will not repeat certain aspects of that concept again and again if they were already used in the content. Okay, so you can also start building out if you wanted to, like a list view, right? Like, so you can insert that, and they're already creatively rewritten and concised presented differently than what the SERP data is. So they're already unique to a very great extent. But when you build out the concepts, it writes upon it and builds even more unique concepts. So there's 2 layers of rewriting, which helps you prevent, it helps you scrub away major issues with plagiarism. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete that as well. Okay, so like once I have my entire outline and I have written all the content, what I really like to do is get my score up to 90, 95. Like I am a diehard fan. Like when it comes to scoring of content, I want to create all my content which has 90 plus score so that I have a fighting chance. And like I can show you tons of examples where we have done same thing and like outrank some of our very big competitors. So, and use this method and you will find more discovery in the in ranking. So let's go to instructions now. And you can see like I've just started building out one section, right? But as you build out more and more sections, so let's just go ahead and add some more. Okay, so now let's see our score. You will start seeing your score jump, right? Like in your sections and what's improving. So we can go here. You can see that you now have 10 sections. It's still not completely optimized for research. Like there are some of the keywords that you're missing and that you need to include them in it. And what most times it happens is that some of these keywords might not seem very relevant or there's a different angle to it. What I usually do is that if I find something which is very closely related, which I don't want to include in my core content, I usually build out an FAQ and add all the questions from the content as well. So you can see right now, like we have a very great emphasis on why you need questions. And it's because increasing amount of search queries in Google are pop boxes and featured snippets that answer a specific question right off the back without having to read that page. So we want your content to be discovered in those featured snippets and pop boxes. And that is why we are recommending that you use a certain amount of questions in your content as well. So let's go ahead and look at this. So I have used, so you see like there is an online content marketing strategy. And you can also see that online is a word here that it's important to use. So if you are using more than 50% of it, it's going to give you a tick mark of it. But here you need to use majority of it because they're super important. Okay, similarly, you can go into questions and you can see all the questions that you have used in your content. And there are more questions that you can include in your content as well. So let's go ahead and look at all the other features now as well, so you guys kind of have an idea. Okay, title. It gives you top 20 pages from SERP data. It also gives you the highest frequency keywords that you need to use in your title. Same goes for meta description. Same goes for heading. Same goes for sections from SERP, and you can navigate through each page. You can see their position in SERP. And sometimes you will notice that it will skip a page. If it skips a page, then it either means two things. One, there's a very strong policy set in place that doesn't allow us to grab the content from that particular page. Or two, is that there is no H2 or H3 tags on that particular content. In that case, there would be no section like this. So if you see a page skip, it's because of that. Okay, when you go to questions, it gives you all the questions from your content, and we actually analyze all the ranking pages and grab all the questions that have been answered in those ranking pages to help you create the most powerful FAQ section if you wanted to. Also, it brings out all the questions people are asking in Google. What are the 4 components of content strategy and stuff like that. So when you're creating your outline, you can better align, right? Like we're already using most questions, so it's fine. But I would try and include as many questions as possible. This is keyword data. If there was any keyword that had an exact question associated with it, it would show up over here. And there's also social data. If there was any good social data as well around the strategic content marketing, it would also be pulled up over here. What I mostly look at is Google, and this reflects the most current search intent data than anything else. So keyword, obviously, if it's most likely in keywords, it will be in Google, vice versa. But these are my like super go-to, and I make sure that I cover everything in at least the Google power boxes that are written. Now let's go to topic coverage. So topic coverage, this has been a little confusing for some people. And the way we use topic coverage is totally different than how you would find in some other platforms, where other platforms, what they recommend is number of times you need to use a keyword. That is not a good strategy. And you never create content around how many times you need to include a keyword. If I was just doing that and that can help me rank the content, then I would not even create paragraphs. I would just include that keyword that many times and it'll help me rank. But that's not the case. So what this is really doing is helping you understand if you have a coverage, you have the depth that you need in order to rank for this particular keyword. And it's showing you some density of that particular keyword. If you have a very high density, then it's likely leading into keyword stuffing, but not necessarily. It doesn't have to. So you be the judge for it. This is just to kind of help you score whether your density for the topics that you need to cover in your content is okay or not. So 7 is going above 7 could lead to content stuffing. And what you can understand right now is that we have very little content, but we've mentioned content many times in the short amount of content, so it's showing this more. But once you finish your full draft, this will be significantly different. And this is to just kind of help you gauge, where to keep your density helper. But if you have this as your focus keyword, then you can expect that your focus keywords and the words associated with them will likely have higher density, and that's okay. But just make sure that you don't have that going on like too often in all of these other ones as well. You can search for certain keywords in here. You can organize them by 2-word. What I mostly look at is 2 words and 3 words, because it gives me a better idea and more precise data that I need to include in my content, and go from there. And most likely, if I cover 2, I'm covering 1 as well. So I just look at 2 and 3 and understand what could be my potential topics to include in the content. And when we bring out concepts, we sort of already have an understanding of these topic clusters. And we use that to influence the AI to grab those specific elements where and when possible. So when you write using concepts, it is actually covering majority of these things by itself, and then the remaining is left out to the writers to edit it. Okay, let's go to clusters. The clusters is essentially grouping your topics into a format which can give you a structure to it, right? So content market, and you can see what topics need to be covered in content market. And similarly, you can go like marketing plan, marketing mix and marketing plan, marketing strategy example, marketing plan versus marketing strategy, right? Like you can understand, like if I'm talking about marketing strategy, this might be certain things that I want to include, and not everything needs to make sense. So our topic coverage scoring is based on the covered topics, not clusters. If you are covering topics, then you're most likely covering clusters as well. So this is just to kind of help you gauge and better understand what needs to go within the paragraphs or what needs to be around a particular keyword. Then current density, what current density is like, this is topic densities. This is analyzing the top 20 pages and telling you that these are the topics that you need to cover. What current density is doing is that it's analyzing your existing content and picking out terms that you could be overusing it. So this is essentially helpful when you're optimizing your content, right? You can make sure that you're covering all the topics, but there still could be certain aspects in your content that could be repetitive, or you're just doing too much stuffing around it, or you're just talking about your product over and over and over again. It will pick up, or it will pick out all of those things which are not relevant to SERP, but it's relevant to you and you have overused it. So this helps you optimize your content even better when it comes to keyword density. And that's what I actually use it for, not on how many times I need to use it. You be the best judge of it, and just don't create tons of content that has repetitive words in it. And you should be fine. And I think like most writers have the ability to do that by themselves. So I never use density to create my content projects. I use it to create the depth that I need in my content. Okay, and you can, there's also like certain things like, hold on a second. Okay, here. So you can select like all of these things and you can see where they have been used in your content. Similarly, all right. Let's go to related keywords data. Okay, so related keywords data is pulling out all the information that your SERP or that your competitors are using to rank for certain keywords, and presenting it in a way that is actually driving the most amount of value in terms of traffic. So if you see like, how are the like, someone would say like, oh, they're not organized, and what does this even mean, right? Like, so this is basic competition. Just multiply that by 100 is what other sites use. We've not multiplied it by 100, and that is why. So this is out of 1 right now, but we've changed this in the upcoming release and make it as an industry standard, so everyone is on the same page with it. But if you hover over it, you will see that this particular keyword has been mentioned 130 times. So this is ordered, this is arranged in terms of that order. This will be lesser than that, or this will be, yeah, you see that? It starts going lesser and lesser. So in terms of lesser and lesser important. But lesser and lesser reputation, not important. And you can see all the ones that your competition has included over here. Okay, if you see a C, that means it is used in your paragraphs and not in your headings. If you see this, that means it is used in a heading. You can also select it and see it must be used in some headings. Sorry. There we go. So it's either used in your important tags or your heading. That's when you will see a tick box. And what's your important tags? Your important tags are your title, your meta description, your headline, and all of your H2s and H3 tags and bold the tags. So that's when this will turn green. And if it is being used in the content, it will just show C. You can also find clusters around it. So let's say, for example, you want to find examples related clusters, right? So you can see all examples related clusters here. So it's very powerful, and it can pretty much do the job that you need it to in terms of mapping the keywords and making sure that you're using it in the right places. Okay, let's go to research. In research, we cover the scores. Now, the scoring is based on our algorithm, and we score it based on all the on-page SEO elements that you see here as well. So they are scored appropriately. There's no different thing going on. And you can see the DA, PA, backlinks, and word data. So now some people say like, oh, your DA is a little different than what I see. Your PA is a little different. Yeah, they're all using different data sources. So it can be slightly different. So gauge it for where the platform you are on. So like, don't compare contentmarketinginstitute.com's DA with HubSpot's DA on Href. That's not going to work. Like, compare it on the same platform and you should be okay. This is to really help you judge whether you have a fighting chance of ranking, what efforts would you need in order to rank or outbeat someone, and what sort of your SERP, the SERP positioning is. You can expand each of these boxes and you can read through the entire content right here. You don't need to open up any new pages. Okay. You can also, so like, let's say developing a content, like develop. Okay, and you can see that it can start navigating through each of these pages and show you everywhere where we have mentioned develop. So you can pretty much do all of that. You can also select content from here and it will automatically search that particular section out. So you don't have to manually do some of those work as well. Okay, and you can collapse all, and you can also add your own custom research. So you can add as many URLs as you want, Outranking to bring content from. You can add all of those URLs here and click save. If you add your custom URLs, our concepts is actually able to read those custom data as well. And just because you add it, it doesn't automatically read it. It only reads it when you command it or when you want it to actually read, or when you are trying to build out concepts for a particular section. So you don't need to be worried about that. You can add as much research as you want into it, and it will start reading it as and when necessary. Okay. All right, let's go to the last step. This is a simple, very simple instruction based on URL, and it is telling you that keep your URLs concise, readable, and use this keywords to create your URL. When you are in the AI wizard, it automatically creates a URL for you without instructions. You can then go and edit it if you want to. Okay, let's cover this AI write feature that we have not covered yet. Okay. AI write is similar to what you saw in the sections write for me, but this is for a more broader context. You can add a title, like if you want it to be a different title, or like give it more specific instructions on writing it, you can change around the titles over here and put an overview before you write it, and it will write towards it, but you don't need to. You can also use 3 and it will stop reading the content above that. So if I start using, if I use triple a slash over here, it will not read any content above this fold. It will still read the title, but it will not read any content above the fold. This is to give you lower, medium, or high input. I never use high, I never use medium, I always use low. And because I want to keep AI right on target, I never wanted to drift away and start building paragraphs that I have to then do tons and tons of editing and remove the nonsense and garbage out of it. So I always use low, and I always give it some context before I do AI write for me. I never start AI write at a new paragraph and say that, hey, it's going to build out the entire new paragraph. No, it does not know. It's running on probabilities, and you don't want to be playing probability game when you're writing content for your clients. They'll never come back. So don't use that right away. Provide some context and then ask it to elaborate upon that. That is the best way of creating content with AI, not generating out of thin air. Okay, there are certain commands that you can run for shortening, expanding, and command. You can also select it, and you can see this is a shorten command, this is expand command, this is instruct command, and this is content improver. So this can also do rewriting, but for a second grader. So you can do longer paragraphs of rewriting as well, and it will just rewrite it as well. Okay, this is this question functionality that you that you saw on sections tab. There are other few functionalities here as well, and as we build the product out into maturity, there will be plenty of other templates over here as well that can help you specifically create certain sections of your content, but nothing will be out of thin air. It will all be based on researched content. You can build out feature snippets, so step-by-step instructions. So WordPress, and what I can do is create instructions. Okay, oh, it's that specific as it gets, but it did not complete it, so there's more to it. And if you want to start completing it, then you can start building it out. If there's more steps, it will start publishing it. And similarly, you can create content. But again, this is all using core GPT-3. It cannot read some nuanced concepts. And for anything that you want to do with factual writing, with information that is researched and created and organized, then you need to focus, then you need to go to concepts, basically. Okay, one last tab we'll look at here is an overview. This is just an overview of what your competition is doing and what they are covering and what you need to. If you are creating a pillar page, you can select a pillar page here, and your scoring will then be affected by it. So like then you are scored on much tighter. Okay. Then you are scored on a much tighter, basically rules. There we go. And my content score decreased, right? And that's particularly the point. Okay. Okay, all right. So I covered majority of this, and I'm sure like everyone's gonna have some questions and stuff like that. But let me also cover a few other things as well that often goes unnoticed. Is our SERP analysis. This is really powerful data. Like people have often asked us whether you map keyword data or not and stuff like that. So right, all of this SERP information is right here for you to use and understand. Let me go through some very quick data. These are all meta titles and stuff like that. These are all your H tags, and they are arranged, right? Like you can see all your H1, like this person had literally used so many H1 tags in their content. But you can see the structuring of everyone else. Let's look at keyword data. These are your highest frequency keywords from meta title, H1, H2, H3, H4, H6. There's tons of analysis that we do in terms of bringing out this user intent keyword data. Then you have related keyword. This is very powerful. This is what we use to influence and create instructions for our content. So our SERP analysis and data is at the back end of everything. And you can see what keywords have been used how many times in SERP results, whether they were used in URL, H1, H2, H3, alt tag, strong tag, content, and total uses. So there we go. It shows the keyword difficulty, CPC, and volume for it. This is very powerful. It's really helps you understand what majority of the people are doing and how you should be creating your content to rank better and outrank them. potentially. These are some keywords from content, and it's just a long list, which we again use to sort of influence AI when it's creating content for you. This is people also ask. And these are some other tags, like external link data, image data, table, captions and heads, ordered and unordered list. So if there's any tables, you can see table heads, duration, cookies, and description. And there's no information here, but unordered list, there will be tons of data here. You can see these are some unordered lists that people have on their website. And these are some ordered lists that people have on their website. Okay, you can also download it. Here, you can also actually do 30 pages of analysis if you wanted to, just get more data for it. And you can also be granular when you are trying to optimize for web, or for desktop and for mobile, and adjust your queries accordingly. So with this, this is like pretty much it. Questions data, I already covered that, a majority of it, but we can still just go ahead and check the UI. And this can take time. Like when I created SEO content, it was only getting 20 pages, but questions get literally 50. It looks at 50 pages. So there's tons and tons of information that comes out from pages that have, when you run questions, it's looking at 50 pages in advance. Let me also show some basic fundamentals here in settings. So often people have issues when adding teams. So I probably don't have a subscription for the team yet here, but you can add team members over here and assign them roles and stuff like that. Let's go here. You can click here. You can change the tag for it, like my website, and click save. So you can have your client's website, or you can group them into different folders. We'll obviously modify this and make this better as we go along and more people use it. There's settings. You can share the document with your team members, and you can only select people who are in your team here. And you can give them view or edit rights. And if you do that, they will see it in shared with me section when they log in. Also, when you click here and you see share here, this is a little different. This is someone like you're sharing your document with a VA or with a client for approval or stuff like that. That's they're not really part of your team in helping you create content. In that cases, you can just write the email, give them a view right or edit right if you wanted to, and you can send it. And if you want to revoke the rights, you can just click delete, and it will revoke the rights for that particular user as well. Okay, just some quick controls here. Control Z, redo, export to document, import, content brief. This is something that's powerful here. You can build out your content briefs automatically. Voila. Okay. There's tons and tons of information. So if you're sending it to the writers, you can customize it, save it, export it in PDF or a document, and send it to your developer. You can just copy paste this into the editor too if you wanted to, or you can just save it here and they will still see it here. You can also use this particular feature as a scratch pad, and all AI features work over here. So if you're doing some brainstorming using AI, you can do that here and then close back and take it back into your actual content editor. It's just like a notepad for you right in here, where you don't have to open multiple screens to keep your notes somewhere else or stuff like that. You can just do it right here. Okay. Yep. And it's just a basic concept builder that I showed you. But that's about it. That's just like a really roundabout walkthrough of the platform, and happy to answer any questions that you guys have now.
Hey, so it looks like we had a couple of questions, and Sir can handle that in the chat. So if there's anything else, ladies and gentlemen, that you have questions about, you can either unmute yourself and ask your question live, or you can post it in the chat. If you have a specific example or keyword that you want Pankil to try and create content for, you can do that. But I think this was a great overview. You touched on so many things, including like dashboards and everything. So it should give a pretty good overview. Maybe just a question. So where, if people have additional questions, I've heard that it does require a little bit of getting used to the platform, and sometimes the content is not coming out the way that they were expecting. And I see Ray nodding. So if that is the case, Pankil, where can people get more help?
Absolutely. So it really depends on what they say, like content is not coming as intended. That can only happen in a few cases. So let's explore those cases right now. When I say a content strategy, I say what I'm mentioning is that content strategy only here. Okay, there's nothing around it. Now, like, how can I expect it to generate concepts about what is content strategy? It can pretty much bring out concepts from any heading which has content strategy in it, right? And this is a very poor example where you can see tons of unrelated data. So let's go ahead and click on content strategy. Okay, so this is still going and finding that very first thing and coming up with precise suggestions. But what can happen is that in certain cases, like I can just write strategies maybe. All right, strategies. Okay, let's delete strategies. Okay, if I do this, like, how can I expect it's content marketing strategy? See, there you go. This is why you see crap data. It's because your H2 tag is not very relevant to anything that you would find on SERP data. So it doesn't have to be an exact match. It can be same meaning, and we can still find out the content from SERP data. But if it is actually just a very different meaning that you are using in H2 and expect it to find content around that, that's going to be a little difficult, right? So make sure when you're writing your H2 tags, they are not so broad, they're precise to what information you want. And you can always go and change your H2 tags after the fact once you have more specific data in it.
Joseph is asking, oh, questions are going too fast. After you have a decent SEO score and you publish your post, how are you going to go back into the documents weeks later if you don't get the results that you were and rankings that you were hoping for to make the changes?
Right. So like 2 weeks is very less to frankly even say that whether your content is performing better or not. Like, you need to give it a few weeks, right? Like, or sometimes even a month. And what I did notice is that, look at this, for example. So what I do, like I start monitoring my content. Like now we're ranking like number 2 position for this from 7, right? And I keep monitoring them. But now I know that, do I have a chance of moving further or not, whether optimization is required or not? Look at this. The only thing that I'm missing is infinite. People also ask, nobody has infinite here. I know I'm going to beat Moz in just a few days, so or a few weeks, right? I don't know when, but if that needle does not move, then I will probably understand whether there is content gaps that I can bridge, or it is something else, or is it a few backlinks that I need to throw. So right now it's ranking with 0 backlinks, but it would be helpful to add a backlink. So you have to go case by case basis and understand what is the most valuable content for you, prioritize them, and then go optimize them as and when needed. So it's very need by need basis, how important that keyword is for you, how much traffic it's going to generate for you, what sort of outcomes it's going to generate for you. If all the stars align, then I go back and I change the content, modify it. And this content I modified. So I wrote a very small passage before where I was just trying to explain something about people also asked, and I like this is never going to rank. So I created a power page around it, and now it started ranking, right? So it's a constant process, and we've done many iterations to different kinds of content. But see, what really moves the needle is going to be that score. If your score is high enough, it's 95 to 100. I would say look for other venues where you can actually move the needle from. It's probably a backlink or something else. And content is rarely something that you'd focus on then.
And by the way, we are looking, we really want for you to succeed. So if you have something that you say you want to rank for and you're struggling with, feel free to email support@outranking.io. Would love to have you as a case study and help you out. So if you have specific questions about your keyword, your case, your piece of content, email support@outranking.io, and we'll be happy to give our 2 cents. Ray is asking, is there a place to add keywords to omit, to skip?
I don't understand which keywords you want to omit and why would you want to omit certain keywords. If I know that more, maybe I can help you understand that better.
What I can answer about that, outranking gathering keyword information from SERP data, and we are identifying highest frequency keywords, which is really important to use in your content because it will give information what other people are doing right. But if you still want to exclude some related keywords from your content, just like a negative keywords that you mentioned, like in Google AdWords, we don't have an option about that. But you can also suggest this at our roadmap at outranking.io.
Right. Okay.
Ray, did it answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, he understood what I was trying to get at.
Awesome.
I want to omit certain kinds of outputs that are because of the topic, maybe slightly more general. I know being specific is better, but sometimes certain keywords that you want to get to and you want to generate content for will bring in other types of content that have no affiliation, and trying to omit some of those words that might be affiliated with that content that's generated would be powerful. It's done all the time in Google AdWords. In fact, one of the best strategies you can have is being up to date with your keywords that are omitted from the search results.
Totally.
Okay, got it.
Next up, Michelle is asking, in order to use credits wisely, can you elaborate which functions are considered manual and which ones are using AI?
Right. So let me cover everything, right? So everything that you do with the writing related stuff. So if you use this rewriting feature, use concepts, use any of these features over here, or you use AI write over here, or instructions and AI wizard, anything that has AI on it, it uses concepts and it uses characters. So if you really wanted to conserve your characters and not have to worry about it, what I would suggest is don't even look at AI wizard. Start just from here. See title ideas and follow the instructions to create your own manual titles using the suggestions and the instructions given here, and construct all of your content. So you should be able to do that just fine, like any other platform, no problems at all. You can do all of the research just fine. You can look through all of this data just fine, no problem at all. Anything that has to do with taking something and transforming it, or coming up with content related suggestions is using AI. Those are the only things that you need to worry about.
Awesome. Next up, James is asking about character limits. Number one, how are they spent? How much 10,000, 25,000, 50,000 credits characters are good for? And what are the costs for add-ons?
So here's something that's really, and I'm about to send out an email to everyone as well, as the product gets more and more mature. In order for you to get from point A to point Z, it's going to be much quicker, much faster. But that cannot happen if we keep our focus mostly on concising and making sure that you don't overspend your characters, right? And that is something that we want to address. So that's why we have everything manual. But what we really suggest is like going into the future of the product. What you really need to consider is whether you can move the needle in 1/10 of the time or not, whether it is saving you enough time to actually invest in a product and spend a few bucks every month or not, whether there is value for you over there or not. If there is not, you can still do everything manually, or you can still take the suggestions that Outranking is giving and use it in any other tool, AI tool that you are using to create content from. But you will see that with the next release, things will get much more powerful. Like if you've seen the power of concepts and how it can do the research, imagine if it was able to do research just 3 or 4 times better. Imagine if it was able to build the paragraphs in a non-repetitive way. Imagine if it was able to talk about multiple concepts together. Imagine if it was able to give you more powerful outlines to build, better ways to build than what your competition is doing, but using AI. All of those things will use AI. So there's always a bypass around it. And I don't want to gauge right now and say you use 10,000, 25,000, or 50,000 characters. It really depends on your use case. Right now, 50,000 is enough as is to build out a complete blog post, which is 2,000 to 3,000 words. And it really depends on like how crazy you go with concepts. So let's say if you have 250,000, you can easily build 6, 7, 8, or 10 blog posts if you use it just a little wisely, not even too wisely. You were just conservative a little bit, not even too conservative. And you can do majority of the functions. If you were just using it for research, let's say, and creating titles and descriptions and stuff like that, you would probably use half as much, right, of 50,000, and you could probably reach 20 blog posts. So it really depends on your style and gauge and stuff like that. So what I would really suggest is like, figure out your style first. Once you're done experimenting with the platform, figure out your style. And once you write 1 or 2 blog posts, you'll have an idea of how much you spend. But again, my recommendation really is that focusing less on keywords and focusing whether it's giving you value or not, whether it is scrubbing away your time, whether it's giving you more valuable research or not, whether you are creating more powerful content that will drive ROI or not. If all of those checkboxes align, then I would say go and spend a few bucks on the product, get more characters, get things faster out of the way, and go to that finish line, much faster than any other tool.
And this week, Thursday, we're going to have a little bit more advanced version of this webinar where we're going to talk more about concepts. This is the feature that we at Outranking use. So anything with the umbrella, yellow umbrella, this is called concepts. So this Thursday, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Same link,
right. And
same time, same place.
Yep. And I'll also give a very quick sneak peek of our next release. A very quick peek to it, but it's going to be super exciting. Concepts is going to be 3 levels up. Your outlines is probably going to be 100 levels up. The content that it produces is going to be unbeaten again. Like we're going to beat our own score. And you will see like how powerful the platform is turning into and what creative ways we are putting in place to do the research for you and come up with better suggestion using AI instead of using AI out of thin air to do everything for you. So,
all right, we are right at the time. Anyone has any questions? You can drop them in the chat or unmute yourself. 3, 2, okay, go ahead, Ray.
Yes, Rowan, quick one. So I'd like to sit on this again. Just think it might be helpful from an absorbing so much that came at me. Is there a link that you guys will send out and or review this particular recording or add ourselves to the next session?
Thanks for asking. I forgot to mention this. The link is going to be sent to everyone who registered. Yes. By the way, we also have a Facebook group. So if you are not in our Facebook group, I'm going to drop a link here. Be sure to join that group because this is where a lot of our power users like Dewey, who hasn't joined today's session, but usually he's like every single time he's there asking, answering the questions, helping you out, and where all of us are there and just to be able to give you immediate feedback.
Right. Like a huge community of 2,000 people, like very active people using the product every day. Some of them creating 1 or 2 blog posts every day on the platform too. So there's incredible value that people can provide from the platform as well, from what they've used. They've started doing their own videos as well as to make you guys understand what workflows that they use with the platform. So this would be super helpful. The only issue is that the platform is evolving super fast. We're doing so many releases and trying to get to the product to that maturity level where AI needs to be in 2021. So we're making very, very, very many changes and every releases. And it's hard to build out feature videos and then they're not relevant after months, right? So that's why we tend to do so many webinars right now until we get to a stage where we are going to have a fixed product and you will see that how powerful it is. So hopefully in the next release, what we are hoping for is to achieve just that and have that stability in the platform, plus have all the features made out to a level where you guys will be able to do some wonderful things above and beyond concepts using concepts. So we're super excited, and yeah, I would love to have you guys in the next webinar as well, where we'll do a sneak peek of the new features. Super excited about that.
Awesome. And I am dropping the link here for the same link. You register for those as well. Just be sure to add Thursday, same time, same place. And we'll see you there. I'm going to send the recording of this webinar to everyone. Be sure to join our Facebook group. This is where I'm also going to drop the link to this recording as well. Thanks, everyone. It was fun. Thank you for so many questions.
Thank you,
Cheers.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.